today, you're going to have a truly beautiful experience. Without spoiling that, because I'll let kind of Sven explain what he does, but we had the privilege of meeting Sven at the beginning of August in Glastonbury, and on the Friday the 1st of August, we had what I would describe as an otherworldly experience, which you guys are going to experience today. And it was in the St. John the Baptist Church in Glastonbury, and wow, yeah, I'm going to say no more. I'm going to pass over to Sven now.
Should we head now?
Yeah.
Yeah. The stage is yours. Enjoy, folks.
I'll just put my drums, Sven, sorry.
How I've been on this path since December 2004 at my awakening. I built a temple with at that moment I used to be a percussionist on Ibiza, playing drums in all the clubs, making a living out of that, living my dream. I built myself a temple with pebbles from the beach, and to stabilize this wall I had to cut, as my other job, I had to cut like 100 trees in one day on Ibiza next to Esmeta. I took 5 of them home with me for the wall, and it's Savina, Phoenician juniper. And one of those pieces of wood was this piece of wood. I just took the skin off, and I'm like, whoa. It's like, for me it looked like an earth angel. And it's like part of my body, where my belly goes in, that thing, it's a part of me, and this earth angel took me like on a vision quest, like without, well, knowing what I did, but I stopped eating for like 13 days and had my awakening. And at that moment I was told to let go of my life and just like follow the spiritual guidance, and because I had some things to do, that then took me to Avalon, and where I had planted a Merkaba around Glastonbury Tor like with crystals. I don't know if you're like, you can program crystals to create a Merkaba. Like you set them in place and then you tune them. And then on the map we made kind of like a sign, and at the ends of the Star of David, that's where we planted them, and then we activated this Merkaba around Ibiza, and then we planted one of those Merkaba around Glastonbury Tor. And that was in 2005. And then I came to England and I lived my life, and during lockdown I got activated again. And I went up in the tower, and during lockdown, instead of like, well, it was lockdown, you guys remember lockdown? And as like my daily practice, so to say, I would religiously go in the tower up on Glastonbury Tor. So the picture is a little bit like scrambled, but you get the gist of it. You know Glastonbury Tor? And up on the Tor, like there's a tower, and I would go in this tower 3 times a week to play my drum, and joined by loads of people. It would always be a completely new thing. And one night I went in there to consciously activate the Merkaba over the 10 minutes. I've got to make it like reasonably quick. Like with this whole story, I could like explain I could give you a 2-hour talk, no problem. But I'm going to condense that in 10 minutes. Like, cut a long story short. So with this, when I play my drums in the tower, the whole tower vibrates. And the bass inside St. Michael's Tower is beyond. And then I realized, like by me, I channeled the heart chakra of the world, just tuning into the energies, and through the vibrating walls, this energy gets then transmitted into the planetary grid. And then, like one night I was in there, and somebody had taken this picture of Glastonbury Tor with the comet Neowise. You guys might remember the comet Neowise. And there's like one guy with a torch next to it, and I was in the tower at that very moment. And through this guy with a torch, I know exactly during which track this picture was taken. And then I was guided by Archangel Michael to extract the reverberations of this tower. So with my drum outside goes down to 100 hertz, but in the tower the bass enormous. So I extracted everything 77 hertz and below, leaving only the sound created by the walls of St. Michael's Tower. And then I was guided to, out of this 14-minute piece, extract those vibrations and the solfeggio frequencies from 396 up to 963, and put this into a 93-minute long musical drone that we then use in churches and sacred spaces to create as a vehicle to create music together. And so when you play music, you receive from above, you send this energy out, the audience sends this energy back, creating a loving light vortex. And in the book that I'm living, this is how humans come closest to our source, love, without any religious conditioning. That's the magic of live music. And then I was guided by Archangel Michael to create to do those vibrations in churches in Glastonbury. And yeah, basically using the walls of the churches. So this musical drone, I pop it inside the pulpit, and then the whole church vibrates. Sometimes we have to put like the little glass bits back in, because everything vibrates. And then I did that the first time. So there's like St. Benedict's Church and St. John the Baptist Church. St. John the Baptist Church is the really big church in Glastonbury, the biggest one on the high street. And after I did the first vibrations there, like 3 years ago pretty much, I was banned from doing those vibrations in any of the churches. And I had worked with them, and I'm like, look, what you do with words, we do with frequencies and vibrations. We're on the same team. And after, but I was still banned for 2.5 years. And then at a certain moment, because I carry the sacred flames of the Divine Feminine with me, and at a certain moment, the Bishop of Bath and Wells, he lit those flames in St. John the Baptist Church. And I gave him, like somebody had made a little clay icon out of this, and then, because that's really funny. So this is the Bishop of Bath and Wells. And you can see in his hand, he holds like a little icon of her, one of the women who connects with that group had made. And it was on that day that I was allowed back into the churches. And then the next day, so that window makes a frame. The next day, they found some clay in a chest at the bottom of this window. In St. John's, when they found that clay, it made quite some waves. And yeah, then I was told to, out of that clay, create more of those clay icons. So I made a mold, and then I created those icons with clay that was like given by St. John the Baptist Church to me after I was allowed back in. It's really, really deep and beautiful. I can't get into more details because now we're coming to the point. So I'm allowed back into St. John's. At a certain point, St. John the Baptist Church had to close this year because of antisocial behavior. And then I connected this antisocial behavior to basically dark magic. Aleister Crowley, I don't know if you heard of Aleister Crowley. And the Thelema people, like the Crowley worshippers, they're quite big in Glastonbury, like really big. And then I found out why they're so big, and I found out that they had built a ceremonial chamber, like a Crowley ceremonial chamber, right on top of Glastonbury's oldest well, where the Mary Line comes in. And that was after, like at the end of World War II, he started to collaborate with Dion Fortune, and that's how he knew where to put this thing. Then I chiseled out the eyeball, and I had like the 1st of August planned in, I had the vibrations. I was doing the St. Michael's Tower vibrations in St. John the Baptist Church for the 3rd time. Really big thing for me. And then the night before on the high street, I met Gemma and Joe. And I gave them like flyers, I told them what I was doing, and they were like on fire. And then the next day when we did that ceremony in St. Edmund's Well, the Heartbeat Collective showed up. And when I saw them walking up to the well through the cemetery, because it's next to a cemetery, I will never forget this moment. I had the Heartbeat playing already and they walked up there all of a sudden. How many were you, 8 or 9?
8, yeah.
8. Unbelievable. We did like a really beautiful ceremony at the well. We like cleared the space, blocked the flow. And then in the evening they came to that ceremony in St. John the Baptist Church. And yeah, when I heard how like it touched them quite deep, to the point where they said like, oh, you need to come on to Warsaw, to the vault, because they had that thing already booked. And I'm like, okay, I've got like this 10-day window at the end of August. I knew I had to do something, so this is what it's going to be. And that's how we ended up here. That's how this whole shrine and everything ends up here. And the beauty in the details. So, like when this started apparently on the 12th, 13th of January, when what she talked about earlier. And on that day, during those days, I had her anchored at the bottom of the Tor in the portal of Isis of Atlantis. And I was doing ceremonies where I made like a heart of stone, and I filled this heart of stone with rose petal prayers for peace, just while it goes like woo, 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 woo. And I do this as events on YouTube, so people all around the world can tune into the same heartbeat. And it's 777 heartbeats. And every day I did one of those ceremonies in this portal with this heart of stone that's right here in front of her. So later at a certain point during the vibrations, like, or whenever it inspires you, I'd like to invite you to come. And there's like, I didn't even know when I took that stuff. It was all like really, really quick, and I had to pack everything. And okay, I pack that. Okay, I pack that. Oh yeah, the rose petals. Yeah, I take those. And then I realized that these rose petals are the rose petals that were laid into this heart of stone when this Heartbeat Collective, like 12th, 13th, 11th, 12th, 13th of January. The beauty of it, it's like a fairy tale. We've literally been living a fairy tale. And then we've been anchoring, like my principle, like when I go to the sacred sites and stuff, I play my drum, and with my drum, the whole thing vibrates. And it's like a geomantic exorcism, so to say. It vibrates everything out of the walls, and it also, because all those buildings, they are right on ley lines for something, and all the churches and stuff, it was all built on ley lines, and this is the planetary grid through which we connected, and I'm pretty much at the end.
Can I just point out as well, Sven,
yes,
for
please.
those who don't know, that the upper hallways are all lying. There's a tri-wave cross-section of clear lines right under your feet right there.
Because it's a MaSonic hall, and they knew what they were doing. And this is literally a fairy tale, like Crowley, the Freemason connections. The Freemasons basically, they own that Crowley well in Glastonbury, connected with the patriarchal magic and everything. This is how they suppress the divine feminine, and this is what she is all about. So over the years, she represented herself to me, like the deeper I got, the more she revealed herself to me. So she started as my earth angel Buddha nature, because with her I found my Buddha nature. And I asked my teacher, Fortin Sharma Rinpoche, if this is what this is all about. And he said, yeah. And that's my teacher blessing her. At that moment she was my Buddha nature. And then she revealed herself to me like, because I've got this oil lamp with 7 flames, and then she revealed herself to me as the Holy Mother. I am the Holy Mother Mary of the 7 flames. And I was like, whoa, obviously you are. And I could like talk for half an hour, but I won't, But essentially later that takes you to the story, and that takes you to the video. When I lit that oil lamp, so the black oil lamp that you're going to see there later, looked like that at the very beginning, an oil lamp with 7 flames. And I lit that in St. Benedict's Church after I carried the flames of Bridget from Ireland, lit with that oil lamp. I lit it and I did a ceremony in St. Benedict's Church, and the next day this crop circle showed up. And the symmetry with the oil lamp and this crop circle, it's a wee bit on the mind-boggling side. It's even got the triskele, like the 3 in it. And yeah, so the whole kind of journey goes. And now, I am at the end, like since last year, since I received this chalice. It's like later, it's a chalice, and it's a chalice. It represents the chalice of the Divine Feminine. And later, I'm gonna light the oil lamp with 7 flames and put it in this chalice. And since I received that chalice and lit it in Glastonbury, all the confirmations that I received, again, half an hour, no time for that, but then she revealed herself to me as Isis of fire, because I connected my whole life with the teachings of Steiner. And I realized that this is exactly what she represents, and Isis of fire, the wisdom of God. And Steiner, he gave speeches about that Lucifer had taken her into space, and Christ will, working through man, will bring her back into the hearts of humanity. Isis of fire, the wisdom of God. And this is what we're doing here now, later, in a bit. I'm nearly, we're nearly ready. I suggest, I do need a quick wee, so if anybody else needs a wee, now would be the time for that, because after, and then when we come back in, I'm going to smudge everybody, and then we do 3 ounces in the lion's roar, and the thing starts.
Yeah, just before everybody disappears to the toilet, just to recap, so for the next 90, well, after you get back, Sven will smudge everyone. Hopefully everybody knows what that is. If they don't, speak to us. It's a 93 minutes process that you'll go through, and then there's going to be approximately 20 minutes at the end for you to integrate. You'll probably just want to lie there and figure out what just happened. Okay? At that point, we'll be breaking at 3:30, and there's refreshments, there's like food, water, teas, coffees. So we've got half an hour there. And what we're going to do is, during that half an hour, some of the team are going to be offering free healings in the final hour. So the Stevens, Gemma, there's John, so you've heard what they do. They're going to be offering free healings. Each of the healings lasts 15 minutes. So if you're called today to receive a healing from one of the 3 lovely people down there, spend that 30-minute refreshment break speaking to me, and then we will coordinate times and who you can see in some of the rooms, the breakout rooms that we've got here. So just let you know that's what's coming. But yeah, if you want to use the toilet now, probably try and get back here in the next few minutes. That'd be great.
Because I didn't know these things that I should learn from you guys. And then that's why you all like reactivate, especially like Gemma, there's the divine feminine. Gemma, all of that.
Our 2 missions are urging.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same, and like all the explanation is all the words, and this is all of those words just in frequency and vibration. 100%. In a nutshell. Thank you for being here today. And I hope I didn't do too much back on it's serious, and I have given like 3 hours. of course,
That's it, 15 minutes is brilliant achievement.
I wanted to ask, is it better to combine very slow or that way? What do you think?
as you
I'll tell you that way, because
like,
the speaker's there, so you go in there.
Okay, head this way.
as you wish, like, essentially, there are no rules. Everybody, like, you can, like, lie flat, dance around, sit down. Just like the only thing is no words. No words, but like, so it's kind of like a combined effort, you know? And sometimes you're listening to things and you feel like either dancing or moving or laying out or even chanting. Like anything that comes out, we let that out. Like, oh, like all of us, whenever. It's a combined effort. And no rules, just no words. The sound stays that come out of that is and the only thing that kind of binds it is the vibration, like the heartbeat with 70 rhythms, so that's your frequency.
So which bits you gonna play with those drums or?
Oh,
The big bathroom over here. Okay.
over the speakers, like the heartbeat goes on. And then I'll be walking around with my speaker, the big frame drum, and then at a certain point I'm gonna go over to that small drum, the bongos, and then at the end I'm gonna go over to the big one. It will be quite intense, so it's not necessarily all the way fluffy and I relax and fall asleep. Well, some people sleep through the whole thing, and that's a beautiful thing as well. But it is energetically
You're still down where you want to go.
quite intense. No, just being here. At this stage. What? Okay.
Everything really is what it's isn't it?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting. We went there for the well, I kind of thought
I thought I had brought a lighter with me, like another one. I've got one which might work. And this basically, this oil lamp, like it started off as a clay lamp. And all of this is sewed from the amount of like, it carries the ashes of the magical powers of the crown and the magical powers of crowning. Gone. All the forces to try to and have suppressed the divine feminine is done.
The lived down south. The energies are very strange. Depends where you are at the time. I always start at the top, so I get
And the white spring is also, it's in the hand of those guys.
Is it really?
They've got a shrine dedicated to Raho Queen. Yeah. That's in the hand of the founding worshippers. And like since 2013, the Edomites, and like in Glastonbury, it's almost as if somebody put something in the water.
I've been going for a long time. I do like the white spring, but I do feel like
The eye mask.